Howdy, folks. Greyhawk 4x4 coming at you again, your resident vintage gamer, and it is time for our weekly campaign update from our first edition AD&D campaign against the Giants that we play every Friday back here. We played last Friday. I did a quick synopsis on my live yesterday, but we're going to go into detail here today. Real quick, for those that may not be up to speed, you can always go back and check the other videos that say campaign update on them and so forth. But I'll give you a quick rundown of who the players are, the characters are in the party right now to help get you up to speed. We have a gnome illusionist / assassin, 7th level. Hingle McCringleberry is the character's name. He has a follower who is a fighter thief by the name of Slate. You have the half-orc thief magic user, Atal is that character's name. You have a elf that we call Maze for short, because he has a fancy ass Meathril Amberglen, I believe is his full fancy ass name. We just say Maze. So when you hear me say Maze, I'm talking about the elf ranger / druid multi-class. 2 followers, Suzette and Chad, both are lower level rangers. And then he now has a pet direwolf from the Giants that he was able to do animal friendship with, and so now he has a pet direwolf. Then we have Mo. I forget what her actual name is. We call her Mo for short. And I'm having trouble reading her writing here, so I'm not sure. Another half-orc. She's a cleric. And then she has a follower, Gustav, who is a fighter. Then we have Von Brill, who is our drow magic user, and who only one person in the party, I believe, knows he's a drow because he is disguised. So that's going to be interesting to see how that goes. And then we have Russ, who is our human ranger. So those are the characters that we have in the game. And where we left off, they had burrowed through the use of the druid taking animal form into a giant badger, and then calling a group of badgers to assist him, dug down underneath the giant compound and found a cavern directly underneath the giant compound. So they entered there. It was a carrion den of carrion crawlers. They defeated the carrion crawlers, and then starting with this session, they started searching methodically through there, and they found quite a bit of pieces of jewelry and coins, and even a piece of armor here or there, I think, it's actually detailed in the module that if the players take the time to do the search, because it's just a pile of dead bodies and refuse, and the smell would be horrible, but they took the time to do it, and so they found these things, so they were rewarded for taking the time to do that. Then they moved on to another cavern, which was south of that big cavern that they had entered, and they found a group of aquatic-type creatures, which turned out to be troglodytes, and they started combat with them, and then at some point, the remaining troglodytes, they fled into an adjacent cavern. But unlucky for the troglodytes, where they ran into a cavern inhabited by a bunch of giant lizards. And there started a combat between the lizards and the troglodytes, and the party followed behind to see that the troglodytes were not doing well against the giant lizards. So then, of course, the party had to defeat the giant lizards, which they did. Then, from there, and I can't remember, they did take some damage at some point amongst all this shit that was going on. Then they went to another cavern. They went further south to another cavern, and they found like a hallway that went, and they saw a single orc way down in this hallway. At the end of that hallway, by a barrier of boulders, on guard, like a single orc. So one of the half orcs, Atal, he volunteered to go down and parley with this orc, because they knew from the encounter they had up above, where they rescued some orc slaves, and they freed them, that the orc slaves said, "Hey, there's a bunch of us down below in the caves down below that are trying to form a rebellion against the bugbears. The bugbears are the ones that enslaved the orcs, to work for the giants. So, pecking order would be that bugbears work for the giants, and then the bugbears find the orcs and enslave them to work for the giant, to do indentured servitude for the giants. So the orcs are forming a rebellion against the bugbears, and here comes this party along wanting to parley, and they explain that they had met some of the orc slaves upstairs, and that to believe them that they're on their side with this rebellion thing. So the orc leader says, "Okay, well, you can stay here tonight and rest in our cavern, in our cave, to prepare yourself, because some of them were wounded. And then tomorrow we will join you, and we will take on the bugbears, etc." Which they did. Next morning comes, they go down the hallway, they clear the boulders, and sure enough, there's a bugbear on the other side of the barrier. There's a bugbear guard, and he immediately puts out the alert, and a bunch of bugbears come out of everywhere, and the fight is on. Big fight. The bugbears weren't doing well, of course, because they were much lower level than the party. And then they at some point, they went for help. Some ogres showed up to help in the fight. It was a huge battle. It went on for a long time. Then at some point, the ogres said, "Get the giants. This isn't going well. Somebody go get the giants." And so they went off to get some upstairs, I guess, we have to assume, to get some of the giants that were on guard up there. When they come, and then they come down. So the bottom line was, there was bugbears, there was orcs, there was ogres, there was giants. A huge battle. In the end, the party, of course, won, and killed 4 hill giants, and I think 4 ogres, because the first 2, if I remember correctly, the first 2 that went off looking to go get the giants, they never came back. Those 2 ogres never came back, and then at the end there were two that escaped. So I think there was 4 ogres, 4 hill giants, and a bunch of bugbears and all that. The orcs basically said, "Okay, we're done. We're out of here," and the party let them go. So they're gone. The orcs have escaped, and now the party is in the section of this underground compound directly underneath the giants, that they assume we had to stop for the night because it was midnight, and they stopped for the night, and we said that's it. And then they gotta they figure they gotta check out the rest of this compound, this underground basement area, to see, because they still want to find Dorian Lightfoot's wife, who was supposedly abducted by the giants. By the way, at some point they did ask the orcs about her, and they refer to somebody matching her description as Pretty Lady. Yes, Pretty Lady was in the, and the orc leader said yes, she was kept in the cells. They knew they know who they're talking about, and they refer to someone as Pretty Lady, or Pretty Human. I can't remember how I worded it, but so the party thinks, well, that must be her, but they haven't made it there yet. They haven't made it to the cells yet. So, but we had to stop. So, yeah, it was. I'm trying to think. At one point, I think when that first single bugbear guard was found, when they tore down the barrier and everything, and then the bugbears came out from everywhere, from all these different rooms and so forth. The one magic user, let a perfectly timed fire, or not fireball, but a lightning bolt just took out a shit ton of them, and that was like the key to the lightning bolt was the key to the thing. So, but anyway, so that is where we're at on the campaign. So they've managed to, at this point, they had taken out 10 hill giants. They had taken out all the direwolves. Well, they released the direwolves except for the one that our druid befriended. Now they've taken out 4 more hill giants. That's 14 total. And they've dealt with 8 ogres. Whether or not they're going to have to deal with any of them again, some of them got away. So through attrition, they killed carrion crawlers, they killed giant lizards, they killed troglodytes. It has been one hell of a ride. But they're getting to the nitty gritty now. It's by all appearances. They're getting to the nitty gritty. So that's where we're at. That we're playing again this Friday. So again, there'll be another update this weekend or next Monday or whatever. The last thing I wanted to show you guys real quick was Ethan, who is one of our players back here. He plays Atoll. He also has a resin printer, and I think I've shown some of his stuff before. He does 3D printing and resin printing and all that stuff. And he made me a couple things. He made me a little pedestal here for my D20. Now, I don't know how well that's going to come up at all, but because it's clear, of course. And you can't make out the writing on there because it's also clear, of course. It's not going to stand out. But the way it works is you take your D20 and just set it up there. Now, the cool thing about this is the writing, it says Old Trusty. And this is Old Trusty. This is my D20 from the 70s. First one I ever bought. First die I ever bought. And then, as a matter of fact, as you can see, back in those days, it was just 1 through 0, 1 through 9 plus 0 twice on a die. And then you had to take something and color in one set of the numbers, and those were your 10s and your natural 20. There's your natural 20 right there, because that one's darkened in. So that is that's your nat. That 0 is your nat 20, because that's the dark. And then as opposed to the other 0, which is not darkened in. There's the other 0 that's not dark. So that's 10. So that's the way these worked back in the day. But this, and you can see how rounded off that is from all the years of playing with this. And I call this Old Trusty, and he made me a little pedestal for it. And then the other thing he made is he actually made me a D20, and he put, you won't be able to see it. He made me a D20. I guess I'm assuming this is resin. And the 20, of course, the nat 20 is my logo, my Greyhawk 4x4 logo. I don't know if you can see it. Yeah, I guess you can kind of see that. Let's see if we can get that to focus any better. There you go. It was there for a second. But you get the idea. So, yeah, I wish I could get it to stay focused, but it won't. Anyway, so we're trying to figure out a way to, maybe I could merch these. I could pay him to make them and so forth, and then I could put them on, somehow merch them. And if you guys were interested in a Greyhawk 4x4 D20, you could order it. So, anyway, that is the campaign update. You guys are all up to speed now. That gives you a quick rundown of who the characters are, and then an update on the campaign, and then a little bit about possible merch. So, please click like, subscribe, comment, click the bell, merch link down below. If there's any questions, I will, whatever questions there are between now and tomorrow, I do a Beer 30 tomorrow night, and then any questions on this, any comments and so forth, I will answer them and talk about them, whatever, tomorrow during the Beer 30. Until then, guys, we'll catch you on the flip side.